Hello, friends. Viva Life Skills trainers and consultants, under their initiative of the Pathfinders, brings to you today an eminent personality from the world of applied arts. So, we have today with us Professor Gangadharan Menon, who's been a maverick all his life and donned many a hats. For his career spanning more than 4 decades, he's gone through the role of being a school teacher, journalist, theater actor, theater director, film actor, documentary filmmaker, and then a very long inning being a copywriter and a creative director. He's won over 50 national and international awards. He's been a very prolific writer. He's written over 150 articles on nature and wildlife. He has given a very interesting TED talk on finding your Ikigai. You know what it means? It essentially means finding the reason for your own existence. Isn't it wonderful? So here's the interesting personality. Let's welcome him. Welcome, Professor Gangadharan Menon. All right. So what motivated you to choose this profession? How did you get into it? How did it all begin, Professor?
Yeah, at the age of around 12, I discovered that I can write. I did, because I was quite good in studies, my father sent me to Ruya to learn science, but within 2 years I realized,
Okay.
yeah, within 2 years I realized science is not my cup of, or my test tube of chemicals.
Right.
So I switched over, lost 1 year, and I
Right.
did my BA in English literature, and where I continued my writing.
Mhm.
But the only difference is I kind of expanded from short story writing. I started writing poetry, started writing articles, reviews. I was the college student editor of my college magazine for about 5 years. So I realized that is my kind of calling, writing basically.
Right. Right.
So I went on to do my master's in English from Bombay University.
Okay.
And then I was a confused man. I was, I did all kinds of things. I made a documentary film. I acted in plays in Marathi, Malayalam, Hindi,
Oh,
English. Yeah,
so many languages. Right.
yeah. I know 4 languages. In
Oh,
Sanskrit, it becomes five, and
okay.
Tamil spattering, so that becomes six.
Right.
So I was a little confused as to what to do. I was very fond of teaching also. So I had taught when I was 23. I was a school teacher in Chardashram. And I had to choose my career. And I could do so many things, and that was actually a problem. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, when I was 26, and 26 is a ripe old age in today's terms. I mean, you almost retire when you are 20. So
Yes. Yes.
I was confused. So I wanted to become a professor. I wanted to become a journalist. I wanted to basically be a writer. And
Okay.
you won't believe it. I actually didn't want to get into advertising because I used to hate advertising. I never,
Oh.
I never used to watch.
And you ended up spending 28 years.
Yeah, 28 years. Yeah. That's a big story.
Right.
That is how
Right.
fate or destiny plays a part.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Right.
I didn't get a job because there was no vacancy for a professor in Ruya. Otherwise, I could have got it. There was a possibility of getting into journalism, but that again, there was a blanket ban in Indian Express taking new people. So that also
Right.
ruled out. And
Right.
I was actually wondering what to do. When my theatre guru, Chandran Nair, he
Okay.
actually forced me to go and meet his son-in-law in Trikaya, an advertising agency. He said, "You will become a great writer." But I said, "I
Okay.
don't want to become a copywriter. I don't want to get into advertising." He said,
Right.
"Go and meet him." So I went to meet Rajesh Pant, is his name. I went to meet him, and he put me on to his boss, who was the owner of Trikaya. And I had gone there without, I had a lot of published work, and they were all
Right.
lying in Indian Express, published, unpublished, all kinds of work. But I didn't take it to Trikaya because I didn't want a job. So I went there without anything to show. But
Okay.
yeah, that Ravi Gupta, the owner, he was a man like me. I mean, I go by I read people's faces. I mean, I can quickly judge whether a person is good or not, or what
Right.
kind of a person he is.
Right. Right.
He was equally good. So I judged him, he judged me, and without looking at a word that I had written, he offered me a job.
Wow.
And I got into
Wow.
advertising. And,
Amazing.
yeah, I got
Amazing.
into advertising accidentally and without wanting to get into advertising. And I stayed there for 28 years.
Wow.
So that is how actually I got into
Wonderful.
advertising.
So, Professor, I mean, no matter what career or profession these young children are going to pick up for themselves,
Yeah,
the initial days of any profession, any career are pretty tough,
yeah,
and there are a lot of struggles.
yeah,
So, could you talk about what struggles that you underwent?
yeah. See, normally, what happens, particularly with today's generation, is you go to the highest bidder. You know, whoever offers you the best salary, you go and work there. That is not the way to get into any career. Forget about advertising, any career. Money should not be the criterion. Your criterion should be, can I learn there? Because when you are fresh out of college, even after your masters, you don't know the ropes of actually what the industry is all about. So
Correct.
will that place teach you something? Forget about, I mean, money will come to you if you're good, and if you're I mean, if you have good work to show, money will come to you. You don't have to go after money. So look for a place which will be a kind of a university. Luckily, Trikaya at that time was the University of Advertising. Ravi
Uh,
Gupta, absolutely wonderful person.
yeah.
Christopher D. Rosario, who was my boss, he was younger to me by 1 year, but he was my boss. Amazing teacher. Yeah.
Right.
So otherwise, what happens is if you get into the wrong place, after you work there for a year or two, or whatever number of years, you come out and realize that you have learned all the wrong things, unlearning what the wrong things you have
Right.
learned,
Right.
and then start all over again. So
Right.
better to go to a place which is a great learning place, a kind of
Right. Right.
university,
Right.
whatever profession. Particularly in advertising, everything is wanted yesterday. So you have
But that's the culture. I think that culture is growing everywhere.
Yeah, but 30 years ago, that was the
Oh,
only
it existed. Yeah. Okay.
profession which needed things yesterday,
Right.
not
Right.
other professions. Now it's
Right. Right.
bottom.
Now it's everywhere. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. All right. So, well, you have entered certain profession, and then it isn't enough because you're a beginner, and then you want to grow.
yeah,
So, growing up has its own challenges,
yeah,
right? So, what does it take for someone to be successful and make a mark in your kind of field?
yeah. Let me specify when I'm talking now. I'm not talking about advertising that
Right.
specifically come to later. I'm
Right.
talking about creativity or creative department in advertising, which is
Right.
essentially the art and the copy. What do
Right.
you need there? See, I say tell you a story. If you give a typewriter, okay, to a chimpanzee who obviously doesn't know English, any other language, uh, and give it to him and leave it in front of him, the keyboard, he will randomly type.
Randomly type. Yes.
At one
Yes.
point in time, it will actually type a sensible sentence, but that is by accident. That is not by purpose. So
Yes.
when you are a creative person, you should not create a good campaign or a good piece of communication by accident, like a chimpanzee. So, so don't be a chimpanzee.
Okay.
So you can't be a one campaign wonder. So you have to learn to do it consistently. So you have to know the process behind creating campaigns so that
Right.
it's repeated every time.
Right.
It cannot be an accident. So that
Right.
is a big challenge in advertising.
Right.
Then there is another challenge because nowadays, so I came into advertising when I was 26. I had all the kinds of experiences that a young boy could get. But
Right.
today, you pass out of college and you're 21, you have hardly grown a mustache and forget about a beard, and you think that you're somebody great and
Right.
stop learning.
Right.
Then what happens is, I mean, I will quote a Marathi proverb, म्हण, आडात नाही तर पोरात येणार नाही, which means if it is not there in the well, it
Yeah.
won't come out in the bucket.
Not. Yes.
So you have to continuously make sure the well is full of water.
Right.
When you're 20, 21, you can easily burn out, you know,
Correct.
if you don't, continue accepting or receiving things. So
Right.
big advice is to don't stop growing. Don't think that you've got it. You will burn out and you won't be able to create. I know a number of students and other people, young creators, who burnt out by the time they are 26. So every corner you turn, you come across a mental block. That is, there is nothing in you to make sure you are full of things so that you come out. Yeah.
Right. So, the world, anywhere, again, like I said, no matter which profession you choose, the world is very competitive.
Yeah.
Everywhere, every field is becoming competitive. So it is pretty much obvious that you have to have certain kind of personal skills and personality traits that should take you, put you ahead of others.
Yeah.
So what would those skills and personality traits be?
See, there are two kinds. One is a general trait, and there are specific traits. So let me talk about the three major departments in advertising.
Right.
So one is called client servicing, or it is also called account management, where you deal with clients. Okay, so you need to be an MBA in marketing and stuff like that to get into that. But remember, in every single field of advertising or department of advertising, you need to be creative, because the basic product that you're selling is creativity. Okay, so you have to have a creative bent of mind, whichever department you are in advertising. So it can be marketing or client servicing. Then there is media. So the media department will decide which media to expose the people to your creative.
Right.
To the target audience. So that is media department. Then the third one is creative, and that is what I'm talking about.
Right.
In creative, there are two kinds of or departments again. One is copy, which is writing, the written part or the verbal part of writing is called copy. Okay.
Right.
Do with copying. Okay. And art. Okay. So in copy, there are hardly any courses. Okay, except for one or two, and I will not mention it because we are not promoting any particular.
But probably during your time, there wouldn't have been even one.
Yeah, none. In fact, copywriting, there is no course, or it doesn't prepare you for advertising. There are a couple of people who offer it, but generally there are none. So basically, you have to have a writing skill in it. And if you can solve problems, so advertising is all about solving problems. To have a problem solving capability along with the writing, you can be a good copywriter. Copy supervisor, creative director, वगैरह.
Right.
In art, there are courses in applied art, which is offered by many colleges. So you take a bachelor's degree. It's called BFA. Actually, it is Bachelor of Fine Arts, but actually it is not fine art. So in bracket, they write applied art.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's a 4-year course. You can do it after 12th. Okay. 12th ke baad, you appear for a common entrance exam, and then you are given choices of colleges. So and unlike copywriting, where you don't have any course, so anybody can get in. In art, you can get in only if you have a BFA in applied art.
Otherwise, I see.
Earlier, during my time, I mean, you could have just talent and get in, but today you can't, because every year around 200 students pass out only in Mumbai from applied art colleges, and they are all looking. So it is not easy to get in, and unless you have a degree and a good portfolio, you can't get into.
I see. Right. Sure. And
then generally, no, then generally,
yes,
what do you require? It may be true of everything. I mean, it is even true of cricket. Actually, the difference between and they were present in
Mhm.
my school, as in where I taught, Shardashram. Typical example: Sachin Tendulkar, Vinod
Yeah,
Kambli. Okay,
correct, correct, correct.
Vinod Kambli, people who know them, including Acharya sir, who is no more. Vinod was more talented than Sachin,
Mhm, mhm,
but something got into his head. So
mhm,
that can be very detrimental to your career,
mhm,
particularly in advertising. You
mhm,
have to be humble. Okay.
mhm. Okay,
Humility is one very important character. Humility, hard work, and lack of ego. Yeah.
right.
The ego at home, be willing to learn, be
Correct.
receptive, be a sponge.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely,
That,
absolutely.
so whichever field you are,
Well,
whichever
well,
department you are, you have
right,
to
right.
be willing to
Sure.
learn, be humble and hard.
True,
Yeah.
true, true. So the next question, Professor, particularly when someone is comparing between two or three choices that he would have narrowed down upon for his final decision,
Hmm?
there's one thing that we definitely compare between these two or three choices is
Yeah.
the prospects.
Yeah.
Right. So what is meant understood by prospect by different people is pretty different. And at one point in time, in your during your answer, you did mention that don't go after money. Money will come to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you answer this one? I mean, how do you see prospects of this kind of a profession?
In fact, advertising is probably one of the best fields to have a great career. See, the thing is, suppose you are in filmmaking, okay?
Right.
You have to keep doing great work, okay? And you are only as good as your last film, okay? In advertising, the only difference is once you have a great career of great number of campaigns behind you, you can go into a supervisory level where
Hmm.
you literally lead a people,
Right.
a group of people, a bunch of talented people. So you
Right.
can very easily delegate work. So okay,
Right.
it's a very good profession if you are creative and a good
Okay.
writer or a good art person. It's a
Right.
great field to make a great career. There is
Right.
lots of money. Okay,
Right.
initially you have to slog it out. You have
Right.
to work 25 hours a day. Okay,
Wow.
you won't have any personal life, but you
Right.
make personal life. So things were
Right.
like that even 30 years ago,
Right.
5 years ago when I started. I started in Trikaya in 1982.
Right.
So the thing is, you have to make time for yourself. Otherwise, you're gone. So when I got into advertising when I was 82, in
Mhm.
82, sorry, and 83 I got married. Okay. And I was in a field where I used to work for 18 hours a day.
Right.
But I made sure that every 6 months I take a 15-day break and
Okay.
I do some forest or the other. Wildlife
Okay.
was my passion. And
Right.
go with my wife. So 15 days I spent 24 hours with her. And that kind
Right.
of made up for all the hard work I did on the other days.
Fantastic.
So you have to make life. I mean, there is nobody will give you.
Strike a work-life balance somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to do it. No, your company will not do it because they want you to work
You have to do it.
24/7. But
Right. Right.
I was very clear, and every
Right.
single place I have been to in terms of travel, my wife has been there with me. Okay,
Mm.
so you have to make a choice.
Right. 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 So, Professor, I mean, the last question.
Yeah,
See, when you were young, to today you have become Professor Gangadharan Menon, a very eminent personality, well-known personality. Not everyone may be as lucky, or as capable, or would have a very favorable environment to grow. So, what do you think are the future trends in this kind of a profession where youngsters would join today? What should they look forward to?
see, whatever the media changes happen, media habits. change, and whatever that is. So there was a time when, during my young days in advertising, a press campaign or a magazine campaign was the big thing. In fact,
Right.
and my art partner Naresh Patil, we were well known for creating 80% of our work was print,
Right.
with newspaper
Right.
magazines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the trend slowly changed in the next 10 years, and it became video oriented.
Right.
So
Right.
people started, watching television more. So the campaigns became television oriented or cinema
Right.
oriented.
Right.
So the media shifted from print to video.
Right.
And today it has moved from video to social media.
Media.
Okay.
Right.
What is called
And it's more and more digital. More and more digital.
digital. Yeah, but that is only the media. Media might change, but it will always be about ideas. Okay.
Correct. That's right.
Advertising will whatever the media will
Yeah.
always be about ideas, and unless there is a big idea in your communication, you will sink like a stone. Okay.
Right. Right.
So remember that ideation capability. So advertising is not a 9 to 5 job.
Right. Right.
Creativity is not a 9 to 5 job.
Correct. Correct.
It is a way of thinking. Okay.
Right.
So you have to inculcate that way of thinking, finding solutions continuously. Okay.
Correct.
So that will not change. So whatever be the social media changes, there is the master of, or the guru of modern advertising. I treat him as the guru. A guy called Bill Bernbach, the guy who created the Volkswagen campaign or the Schwarzenegger campaign. Yeah.
Right.
He had a great statement. I mean, he made it 50, 60 years ago. He said, somebody asked him, what should advertising do? So he said, let us talk to the unchanging man in the changing times.
Wow. Wonderful.
That because the things you hate, the things you love, all that remains jealousy. These are basic emotions, greed. Those changed ever since man was born. I mean, the first born or the was born. So, in advertising, you are actually talking to those basic emotions. Okay, that will not change. Find ways of talking to that man in those terms.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Right. So, in short, actually, what you're saying is the prospects will remain bright the way they were a few decades ago. Right. Right. So, for paucity of time, Professor Gangadharan, we will have to stop here. We would have loved to go on and hear much more from you, which is beneficial to our members here. So this has been a very, very informative talk. I'm sure you will become a pathfinder to some of these people who would watch your interview, and it would help them find their path. Probably some of these people will actually get into the arts world, and maybe more specifically into applied arts, like your specialization of advertisement and being a copywriter. So let's wish all the best to all of them. And thank you very much, Professor Gangadharan. Thank you very much.
All the best to everyone.
Thank you.